Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the 15th Superintendent of the Virginia Military Institute, General Cedric Wins.
Great crowd, great crowd. How's everybody? Good, good. I just want to say good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Virginia Military Institute. As was mentioned, I'm Major General Cedric Wins, the 15th Superintendent of VMI. I'm excited to have you here, and I'm glad that you've chosen to join us for this, your 34th Annual Environment Virginia Symposium. VMI is extremely proud to co-host this annual event as a statewide conference. We have a long lineage of graduates in science and engineering from this conference, and it draws their origins. I hope you enjoyed the education sessions that have gone on both yesterday and today. This conference is one place where environmental professionals from all sectors, government, business, industry, and nonprofits meet to network, find common ground, and learn about environmental topics. Today, we are privileged to welcome back to VMI our featured speaker, the 74th Governor of Virginia, Governor Glenn Youngkin. Our cadets just finished marching in a parade today, but we also had the great opportunity to march in the governor's inaugural parade a few years ago, and he's visited this post several times. We appreciate his strong support for higher education in Virginia, and particularly VMI. We also know our future environmental policies are important to him and the Commonwealth. This evening, we are excited to hear his perspectives as we learn about and discuss the critical environmental issues of our time. Governor Youngkin, thank you for joining us here today and being at this conference. Please join me, ladies and gentlemen, in welcoming Governor Glenn Youngkin to the podium.
Thank you. General Wynn, thank you very much for the incredibly kind introduction. And I just want to also thank VMI for hosting this 34th Annual Environmental Virginia Symposium. What a spectacular gathering of capabilities. And I guess we should stop for a minute and thank Kim Connolly, particularly for her leadership and tremendous efforts in pulling all of this together. Kim, I don't know where you are, but we're clapping for you. There you are. Thank you. As the General said, right before coming, I had the tremendous privilege of seeing the Corps of Cadets on parade. And General Wins and Colonel Gray, while I wish I could have told the cadets as a group, I just want to say to the two of you that these men and women make us proud, not just those of us here, but the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. And I want to thank you for your leadership. Thank you, sir. So it's fitting that we find ourselves in a hub for leadership in discussing how, in fact, we can bring that leadership to the world of environmental stewardship. And I was very pleased to see the tagline for this symposium of where leaders meet. I also want to congratulate the recipients of this year's Governor's Environmental Excellence Awards. You see, here in Virginia, our natural heritage, the natural wonders, the many blessings that the Lord has placed right here in the Commonwealth of Virginia must be preserved. They must be treasured. And it is, in fact, that responsibility that falls to all of us. And so when we scan the amazing Commonwealth of Virginia from the deepest valleys to the heights of our tallest mountains, across our coastal plains where I grew up, and through our wild lands where so many of Virginia's natural species are thriving, this treasured gift is one that we must serve. The value of our land, the value of our wildlife within it cannot be captured adequately with words. And I am always truly overwhelmed as I travel around the Commonwealth of Virginia and get to take it all in. This is a community to which each and every one of us is a part of, and I think we each believe that this blessing is a blessing that we collectively must work together to steward and preserve. And so I want to thank everyone for making this collective responsibility personal as well. Thank you for your individual commitments. As I'm sure you've heard over the past few days from Secretary Lohr and from Secretary Voiles, we are working hard to protect our most precious resources and ensure that those blessings are there for future generations. From day one, our administration has made promoting conservation and responsible stewardship a top priority. On top of that is a fundamental recognition that this is not an either or, but rather a both and moment, and we can use our natural resources to further benefit Virginia economically, all while doing so transparently and listening to one another. We have achieved an enormous amount over the last 2 years. First, we've taken seriously the charge to bolster our resiliency. When it comes to addressing resiliency across the Commonwealth, from our coast to the mountains, we have awarded nearly $120 million in funding to help communities address flood resiliency through the Community Flood Preparedness Fund, both in round 3 and in round 4. Projected funding included the purchase of Mayo Island for the city of Richmond, support for Norfolk's Coastal Storm Risk Management Program, and multiple initiatives to support flood resilience in Southwest Virginia. We also launched the Resilient Virginia Revolving Fund to help provide non-federal match for federal resilient grants, something that is most needed, and to support property scale projects. Friends, this is a chance for us to move into a new area that hadn't been done before. We adopted key transparency measures around the administration so that the Community Flood Preparedness Fund and the Resilient Virginia Revolving Fund could in fact be targeted towards and used by our working groups. See, when you bring people together, when we convene the Resilience Coordination Working Group, it brought 39 stakeholders to better coordinate resilience efforts and to support local efforts. It's amazing what we can achieve when we work together. And it's amazing what we can achieve when we take ideas and turn them into actions. And so we continue to work to ensure the safety of Virginians during natural disasters. We're demonstrating a clear commitment to improving transparency and conserving our natural resources, our lands, and of course, our water. The Department of Environmental Quality, which is led by Director Mike Rolban. Mike, thank you for being here. I know you've had such a huge week. Has done a tremendous job demonstrating that it is possible, this both and moment, and it's also vital to support responsible economic development while ensuring proper environmental regulations and protections are in place and enforced. When I came into office, DEQ's average agency permitting process time was 339 days. Now the DEQ average processing time is 196 days, a 40% reduction with a recent record of 88 days. Just think, DEQ was using 30-year-old manuals as its guide, full of outdated and archaic and Byzantine rules and specifications. And with updating that brought a handbook that used to be this tall and is now this tall. We were also able to publish and update the Virginia runoff reduction method for calculating post-construction water quality, control requirements that calibrates DEQ's guidelines with current Chesapeake Bay model requirements. And we continue making huge strides to conserve our lands and protect our wildlife. The Department of Wildlife Resources has made the outdoors more accessible, opening more than 30,000 acres of public and private lands for outdoor recreation experiences, including 24,000 acres in Southwest Virginia. DWR has been recognized for their great work and was named State Fish and Wildlife Agency of the Year by the Congressional Sportsman Foundation. These accomplishments are a testament to the strength that comes from service, the power that comes from partnerships. And we continue to make public spaces more accessible. We must be equally dedicated to improving them, as well as developing innovative programs and partnerships to protect and restore the great outdoors. And we're making critical steps, whether it's planting trees by utilizing the $2.4 million in state funding to support tree planting efforts across the Commonwealth, whether it's engaging civic communities, local governments, tribal organizations, nonprofit organizations, neighborhood associations, public educational institutions, and state agencies and volunteer groups on over 100 projects. And whether it's creating the Office of Working Lands Preservation, bringing two offices together under one banner, impacting agricultural focused easements in a positive way. These steps exemplify the spirit of collaboration and demonstrate what is possible when we strive for a shared goal. Now, I have to be transparent and clear. I grew up in Virginia Beach. And so the Chesapeake Bay holds a very, very important part of my attention. Our shared priorities have and will continue to include the Chesapeake Bay. On day one, I made it an administrative priority to use every tool in our toolbox to see it flourish. And while we have made extraordinary progress, there is still a lot to do. We've made significant and substantial strides towards meeting the Bay total maximum daily load goals. Our historic investments have resulted in record nutrient reduction from the ag sector in fiscal year 2023, which is something to be celebrated. And I will highlight that again in the Common Ground budget that I introduced on Monday, we will fully fund the agricultural sector's best management practices to continue down this most important arena. Our substantial water quality work and focus on oyster restoration has led to a 40-year high in Virginia's oyster population, and it has reclaimed over 200 acres of oyster habitat. Now, these efforts are complemented by the largest public replenishment program in the United States, surpassing the initial goal of restoring 5 tributaries, Virginia's completion of a remarkable 6th tributary, showcasing the state's dedication by surpassing targets set in 2014. You see, the 2014 Chesapeake Bay Watershed Agreement set targets. And I believe when we set targets, we meet them. And that's one of my most important commitments, is that the targets that were set with regards to the Chesapeake Bay 2025 goals aren't aspirational. They are a challenge. And while we may not meet all of them in 2025, I'm committed that we will meet them. And we picked up a budgetary deficit of goals that had been set without funding and a plan to meet them. And I'm so proud of the collective work that we have all undertaken in the past 2 years to put now the realization of meeting our Chesapeake Bay 2025 goals in the column of achievable as opposed to just aspirational. This is an important goal for all of us. All this progress does not mean that we take our foot off of the accelerator. There are plans to create a landing page to capture all of the Department of Environmental Quality's environmental reports, all in one place. We will continue to work with soil and water conservation districts to deploy VAX funding so our ag sector water quality goals, in fact, will be met by the end of fiscal year 2027. Most importantly, as we continue to enhance Virginia's wetlands protections, we will restore efforts with wetland technical teams. Folks, this is really important work. I could go on and on about the incredible progress that has been in motion over the past year, as I have just barely to touch the surface. Clearly, there is a lot ahead of us. And if I could express one simple sentiment to all of you tonight, it is thank you. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your passion. And thank you for your love of this work. Whether your team is fostering the development of the next generation of watermen, ensuring the sustainability and vibrancy of our seafood industry, or hosting an agency-wide summer internship at DEQ workshops to build the deeply necessary pipeline of employees dedicated to making government work even better. We're connecting with wildlife professionals and outdoorsmen from across the Commonwealth to continuously grow and support those communities. Thank you for pioneering this incredible, worthy cause. Thank you for protecting Virginia so that future generations might come to enjoy it, for instilling in them the importance of stewardship of our blessings, and the responsibility to continue to improve them, to care for them, and to pass them on to the next generations. Thank you for strengthening the spirit of Virginia, which lives in the blessings that we see around us. You're defining the future of the Commonwealth through an image of excellence, leading in conservation, building a Commonwealth that is overflowing with clean waterways. This 34th symposium reminds us that, yes, we are blessed, and with great blessings come great responsibilities. The work you're doing is critically important. And again, I want to thank you. And I'd ask the Lord to bless this Commonwealth, bless this land, and bless the people that make it come alive. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Colonel. Sure.
Governor, thank you for those great remarks. On behalf of the superintendent, Corps of Cadets, and every one of our members of the conference, a small token of appreciation for your support for this conference, but all the hard work they're doing to help us preserve the Commonwealth's environment. Thank you for attending.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bless you, sir. Thank you.